Hi, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. One of the most fabulous questions for exploring and integrating and investigating what it is you feel stressful about and why is to ask yourself the question, what does this mean when I think this? What does this mean when I see this before me? So, applying that kind of question, I know it's a very grand, huge question. What do I think this means? But what an amazing thing to explore. So let's apply it to eating issues, food, and the body, basically. The way we eat, the actual food we're reaching for, and our body image are all intricately woven together to create this perfect storm of a, obsessive quality and addictive quality. Sometimes it's a process, sort of compulsion. There's like an activity or behavior here that feels very, very what we're calling addictive. Like I can't stop, I'm compelled to do it. And some foods are much more appealing to participate in with that than others because they've got like stuff in them probably that are, setting off your taste buds and kind of reacting in the body in a certain physiological way. I don't hear very often of people who binge, for example, on raw carrots or salad, but I have heard of it. So sometimes the actual activity and action of eating is so strong that can even be something that people just feel overwhelmed about doing. What somebody once shared with me, and I wasn't surprised at all. I'd had the same type of experience, that she just couldn't find anything in the house to eat, and she wanted to eat so much. She was eating frozen peas. Frozen peas. So just imagine, that's not something that's built in, chemically to be a draw. And yet the action of eating was so compelling, she wanted to do it. But let's see what's going on. Okay. So for these things that knit together so well, you can look at that food over there, or you can look at that body. And I thought to make things really simple, let's look at body image because we have so much that we place on body image and what we think it means. So much about that. So sometimes, in fact, the reason I'm choosing this and talking about it today, body image and the way it gets distorted, is because that is the beginning of the final piece of the puzzle in a way, or a part of the puzzle that creates this whole perfect storm in the first place is a concern about body image. The early logic will be, oh, since I've got this body image thing that I want, and I don't want this body, I want to change my body, or I see those other people with a body over there that I think is better, I need to change my eating or do something with my eating around that. And then panic sets in, or rage, or an urge to control, and that'll be applied towards food and eating in order to get that perfect body. Okay, we all know how that cycle works, but just to make it sort of simple and clear. So body image. Exercise that you can do to take a look. Think of somebody who is got that perfect body, who is, beautiful, athletic, incredibly appealing. Perhaps it's youth that seems to be strong in the culture. Something that you think of as absolutely amazing, perfect. Even if you've got that other part of your mind that's aware that that's not all true, just noticing the influence of a collective consciousness about what is supposed to be good looking, right? What's appealing, what's attractive. So just imagine that person. Maybe it's somebody you've seen in the movies or on TV or magazines or whatever. Imagine that perfect body. And then write down this question below that perfect body, where maybe you've got the name of the person, or you've got that image in your mind. Write down this question. What do I think it means that they have that body? Let's not even call it perfect. What do I think this means about them? What kind of person are they? What do I think it means they feel or do or say? What kind of relationships do they have? What kind of life do they have? What do I think this means about them? What I found is sometimes I think it meant qualities like they're very disciplined. They aren't disturbed by their emotions. They're They easily earn money. I mean, I had those put together. It's kind of funny. You just see what it is that fits for you. So there that person is, looking that way, having that image. What do you think it means? What qualities do they have in their life? How are they with other people? What do you think they're like when they bump up against dilemmas in the world? What has their childhood been like? Just let yourself notice what you think. It's a story. Story you're putting on that kind of body image. Now, do it on somebody that you think is heavy set or has your kind of body, even if your body isn't heavy set. See that body out there. Or if you want to, you can go the full swing opposite and see some sort of body that you find frightening or repulsive. Now, let yourself be judgmental. No one ever has to read your work or know that you think this. No one ever has to know. But it's all sort of assumed anyway in our consciousness, right? We're thinking it, so this is like a way to get it out and be with it and just notice. So what do you think is ugly? What do you think is repulsive? What kind of body do you see if you imagine or remember or have seen something that looks frightening and shocking? I did this work and I remembered a woman that I saw on a bus, and she smelled like she hadn't showered in many, many days, and her clothing still looked pretty in put together. Just this large muumuu dress, and she had a fairly nice bag and a couple of bags that she was carrying, if I remember correctly, and she was fairly young. She's probably the same age as I was. I was probably only about 18 years old. And she was very heavy set, but she smelled so amazingly bad to me. It was just vivid. It was like this striking moment. And everybody sat far away from her because they could smell. And I just remember thinking, wow, what would make somebody smell like that? Or what was going on? I mean, I had the thought at the time, she's never showering. She's not cleaning herself. And why would she not do that? Why would she want to keep people away? That was my thought at the time. So her image came up in a strong way. And she was very heavy set. And it was when I thought being heavy set was terrible, that people want to get away from you and they don't think you look right. So what meaning do you think it has for you when you think about that heavy set person that you know? What do you think they feel? How are they being with other people? What kind of experiences have they had in their childhood? Yes, it is kind of your imagination, and you're dreaming up in a way because you have no idea really. It's just an image. But go there anyway, because probably some part of your mind it has. And this capacity to tell stories and put stories on to other people, like what we think it means that they said that, and they looked that way with us, and they did that, and they approached other people that way. Just as we observe what's going on in our surroundings and our environment with human beings, we put stories constantly on them. When you have those ideas on paper, so journal about it, when you put them together and you have that clearly, what you think it means, this body over there, what you think that means, and you can do it with all kinds of bodies and images and what you see out in the world and how people are behaving. Really, identifying that is what self-inquiry is all about. It's the first step in the work of Byron Katie. It's that very first step is seeing, what do I believe this means? What does it imply? What do I think is true about this person? Even if part of you knows it isn't, just do it anyway, because they're so strong. It was strong enough for me when I was 14 years old to begin to, way even earlier than that, to begin to see, do anything you can not to be the heavy-set person, because nobody likes them. We all agree. I've heard it. I just picked it up in the culture, but most importantly, I picked it up in the family. People that are heavy are really doing the wrong thing. They're undisciplined. They're out of control. My grandfather said it. My mother said it. My father said it. My grandmother acted it out and was criticized by people in the family. I didn't want to have that criticism directed towards me. I wanted to be admired and esteemed, praised. I like that better than criticized, which is natural for kids. But just to be able to watch that and see how strong it is, it has to be, to me, it has to be mixed in with personal feelings of love and connection in the family with what's going on in the culture. Anybody who, observes what's going on in society, if you feel like it's really important to be connected with your friends and the body image is super relevant, like having that certain body image means you're going to get those friends, then I can see, you really begin to get pulled in by wanting to make sure you look a certain way, even if your family doesn't care that much. But I find people that have that experience, the belief that it's important sort of begins to fade out a little more easily if the family doesn't share that belief. The family doesn't care. But there's a lot of families that care because it's so there. So anyway, just see what it is you think it means. Whatever that wonderful body is over there, you know what you think the wonderful body is. And then see over here what you think that body is that's wrong, that you don't like. Why? Just ask yourself why. What do I think that person, what's going on the inner world of that person? What do I think their substance is that they show up like that with that body? And that will give you the most amazing clues for your stressful beliefs. Because when you see what you think those body images mean, then you realize what you're attached to, If looking like the athlete over here means that person is likable and disciplined and strong and steady and have their emotions kind of in check and are a very supportive human being, like a rock. If that's what that means, then, and you want to go be like that, you feel like you want people to think of you with that appeal, then you're going to make your body shaped like that. Some people, like the real tough, athletic, super hard, muscular, the impression they might give off is that they're extremely tough and they can take a lot, or they're going to fight, and make sure their boundaries are incredibly strong. You can't get past their boundaries, and they're not that interested in emotions. It's kind of an interesting awareness to have. So stay away from them, don't cross them. They're going to be tough. But all of it can be questioned. The person who may be very heavyset you think of as not tough and is somebody who just gives in all the time or is passive. I have a hard time finding if that's true anymore after questioning it and really seeing what is true. But the most important thing is to collect your own thoughts that you have, that you put on images, and what you think it means, because then you have the story of how you think other people would perceive that body as well. If you perceive a body that is shaped like that, and this is the meaning that it has, you think that people are going to have thoughts about your body, and it all comes down to people wanting to be, people being interested in you or disinterested in you, because both could have benefits depending on your level of safety or comfort or, what feels right for you in the world. So, it's funny because we'll just naturally want to shape our bodies into that meaning. If that's what the body looks like, if that's what it means, well, then I'll shape my body and then I'll have the meaning. But of course, sort of the backwards way to do it and the inefficient way to do it, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work. So let's do it another way. And the best steps to begin that work, once you have the concepts that and the stories that you've put on those images, is to notice what feels stressful and then take it through the 4 questions, the work of Byron Katie. Take it through those 4 questions. Is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? How do I react when I think this is true? Who would I be without this story? Who would I actually be without this thought? Walking in the middle of all those people with those body shapes and images? Who would I be if I didn't believe my own story, the story I learned somewhere, the thing that I adopted and just took as true? Who would I be without that? and then turn it around to the complete opposite. You know, that doesn't mean that. It means the opposite, maybe. It just simply does not mean that. Anyway, you just take your concept and you'll find the turnarounds, which sometimes can be a little bit tricky and sometimes the most fascinating part of the work of all. Complete opposite, reversal, and just noticing what could be true about that. Putting yourself in the position of whatever you think is true about somebody else, saying, my thinking is like that instead. So if you think that person is too undisciplined, my thinking is too undisciplined. That's what's true. It's just going haywire, believing the story, not even questioning it. And then all the thoughts that come in. So you would just sit there with the inquiry process and notice what is actually true for you and try on some other articles of clothing, Let's wear something else for the day in the mind. Let's notice another way of looking at it. What if I'm wrong about the way I've perceived things? And what if I have a completely new view of the body image, even the body that I'm in? What if it was just right for me at this particular point in time, given everything I've believed so far? And as I break down my beliefs or begin to question them, they naturally dissolve. And I just don't have so much pressure or intensity or worry about the body image looking a certain way. And you know what I find out that happens, which is a really interesting and sort of strange thing, is then the weight, as we begin to question all those things we think are true, and hold still and peaceful with the way we're eating, like relax and calm down with the way we're eating, and eat things that are more beneficial to our bodies. We'll just naturally begin to do that more. But, you begin to know and be very aware. Many of you are nutritional experts, but you begin to be able to follow that expertise and your knowledge in a much more easy way. No fighting, no rebellion, no need to move out of it. And your weight just naturally balances to your normal set point, whatever it is. Okay, let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, see you next time. Bye, everybody.